Welcome everyone. I will be making a special tier list of all of the Mario Party DS minigames and put them all on this tier list right over here, labeled from S to D. And no, I will not be putting them in how I like them. I will be putting them in how I see fit, in my own opinion. Let's start off with the 4-player game, Goomba Wrangler. Goomba Wrangler is very fun, I get it. Having to trace circles around the Goombas and gold Goombas without having to touch a wall and avoiding the Bob-ombs too. It can be very tough. Circling around a Bob-omb makes you lose half of your Goombas, and that could even cost you a gold one. It's very, very tricky. I would honestly give this... you know what, I'll put it in A. Alright. Next is Rail Riders. You have to slide on the bottom screen upward as many times as you can before you get to the end of the rail, and see how far you'll travel across the room. I give it a B. Dress for Success. You have these character cards, and you have to match the body to the head of whatever is up on the top screen. So you get a character card, and then they get shuffled in with some 3 wrong ones, and you have to pick the one that matches the head. There are 4 rounds, and if you win 3 times, you win the minigame. I give it a C. Alright, next, Camera Shy. This one's very fun for me. I really played this one a lot as a kid. You go around in this maze-like arena and try to take pictures of everyone. You have to take a picture of everyone and hope that you get them first before your opponent. I would say that would be B tier. Hedge Honcho. I hate Hedge Honcho. It is so ridiculous. You have to use your stylus to swipe across the leaves in whatever direction they're pointing out from and get to the goal. You have to rub the ladybugs to shoo them away. And do not do anything when you encounter a bee, otherwise you're going to get stung and you lose time. The bees, they scare me. Like, I have to be cautious about them because I don't know what's hiding behind those leaves. It's very scary. I would say that would be a C. Study Fall. It's a very simple game. Just get to the edge of the chalkboard without hitting the erasers at the bottom. Otherwise, you're disqualified. Let's see, a simple game like that, I think it would be C tier. Domino Effect. You have to press the buttons that are the next domino in front of you in order to get to the goal. You would never get... the dominoes would start falling behind you, but let's be honest, you will never get caught by the falling dominoes. It's pretty easy. I would say that would be B tier. Cherry Go Round. It's another simple game. You have to circle... you have to use your stylus to slide the cherry in a circle as many times as you can. Very fast too. It even works in counterclockwise too. And have your cherry go far, far as you can, beating your opponents. A tier, I think. Trace Cadets. You have to trace the shapes of whatever is glowing on your corner of the top screen, and try to fill in all of the shapes as you can before your opponents do. It was a very, very hard game to learn as a child because I'd never read the rules properly. It's also I just don't ever get it either. I would say that would be D tier. Yeah. Hot Shots. This one's very exciting. You have to pull back on your bow using the stylus and then release it against one of the 6 targets on the top screen. A Kamek, 20 points. Bowser, 100 points. Toadette is a negative 30. You have to like pull back farther to make the cursor go higher on the screen. And if you make consecutive shots in a row, you get 10 more depending on how many you hit without missing. I would say that's an A tier game. Call of the Goomba is a very interesting one. Call of the Goomba is you have to slide your stylus in counterclockwise in order to make a nice smooth rhythm for the Goombas to listen to. And you have to entice them like a siren and put them right behind where you are, therefore by capturing them. Whoever has the most Goombas wins. Sometimes I work really hard to try to get all 50. I think I've done it like once or twice as a child, but I don't exactly remember. I would say that's an S tier game. Heck yeah, S tier. Next is Pedal Pushers. Pedal Pushers is a pretty simple game, really. Just alternately mash the A, B, X, Y buttons and the D-pad, the plus control pad. And just make your way to the goal. You have to do it slowly, though, against those slick spots. Otherwise, you'll spin out. B tier, since I'm already there. Roller coasters. It's pretty boring, honestly. You have to slide your stylus up a bunch and try to get to the goal. You have to do it like so many times. It's tiresome. Avoiding all kinds of sandbox related stuff like trucks, shovels, even pails or buckets. I think that's a D tier game. Big Blowout is like one of the most boring mini games ever, because literally all you have to do is just blow into the mic and you always get the best result. Like, just keep blowing it, because the most you'll blow out is 3 times. Now, if you are an actual human being, you will literally just blow out 3 candles in once, because that's the best you can do. Just keep doing it over and over again. You'll just win against the computer players, no matter what difficulty they are. I like the style, I like the concept, but that's a D tier. It's too easy. Soccer Survival is a very exciting one. You have to avoid the soccer balls that the Goomba kicks towards you. The shots will come out in any way. Some from out of the sky, like the Goomba will kick it up and it will land, and you probably won't know where it's going to be landing on. Some will even go zigzag. Last one standing wins, or can you outlive the timer? I'd say that's an S tier game. Trash Landing is very scary. You have to pick one of the 5 ropes, and then you get sent through the garage and try to land on one of those. Try to land on an object that you get. So, like the toolbox, for example, that is like a very big item that you can land on, and that it's pretty much an easy win. The soda can is the smallest, which sucks, but you deserve major points for landing on a difficult item such as that. The bucket and the canisters are just pretty normal, and if you mistime it, then you fall into the mud or whatever that black stuff is. So I think a game like this would be A tier. Cheap Chance. What can I say? You have 8 ropes and you have to lure up the one with the cheap in it. If you do, you win. That's it. But if you don't, you lose. And you probably just give your opponents a better chance at reeling up a cheap instead. I think that minigame sucks. D tier. Twist and Root is a very addictive minigame for me. You have to turn clockwise on the bottom screen to wind up your toy car, and you have to navigate through your way through the obstacles along the path, avoiding all kinds of stuff like nuts and bolts, whatever those gray things are, and even clock faces. Like, some will slow you down, some will trip you up, some will just block your path, but it's really cool. I would say I'd give that a B. Next is Crater Crawl. Crater Crawl is one of the most frustrating minigames ever. You have to avoid the lava eruptions that come out of the lava as you're climbing the volcano. And opponents can even sometimes just trap you in between them. But thankfully, there's a feature that lets you mash the A button and lets you like crawl out of your opponent so you can get free. You always have to use that mechanic to escape from being trapped. And the lava eruptions get faster and faster. It's kind of almost hard to outmaneuver. I would say that deserves a C. Next is Boogie Beam. Boogie Beam is one of the easiest minigames ever. It's like the same as Big Blowout, because all you have to do is just press the left button, the yellow one, if there's a spotlight shining on you. And you just press the right one if the spotlight is not shining on you. There are 10 rounds. It is perfectly easy to get a perfect 10 on. But if you're matching up against other humans too, there's hardly any competition at all. D tier. Parachuting Gallery is kind of mid. It's easy to get 5 against computer players, no matter what difficulty. But the shoving is kind of annoying. And the added shapes and removing shapes is kind of makes it hard too, but I still get 5 stars. I would say that would be a C tier. Get the Lead Out is a very tough minigame. Well, despite its simple feature, you just have to mash the A button. That's all. That's literally all you have to do in order to win the minigame. Do that as fast as you can and get your pen to have the most lead sticking out at the end in order to win. I have a really hard time fighting hard computers and expert computers on this. I can beat the hard ones just barely though, but sometimes but most of the time the expert ones they just always beat me. They're just that good. I'd say that would be a C tier because of how simple it is. Boo Tag. Ugh, I hate Boo Tag. Boo Tag, you're in this treasure chest with obstacles from like jewelry and a sword. You have to avoid the boos. Be the player that was holding the boo for the least amount of time. Now here's the stupid thing though. When a boo appears, the boo will just choose someone at random and just head straight for them, and you cannot out-chase them. You cannot outrun them. They will get you. So when you have a boo on you, you're stunned for like a mere 2 seconds, and then you can start trying to chase someone to pass the boo onto them. While you have the boo on you, you're invisible, so you can pass through stuff. That'll let you get right to your opponent, so they can't outmaneuver you. You're also a little faster than them too, so you're pretty much going to get the boo onto them. But the problem is that after you pass the boo onto someone, they're pretty much just going to go after you again because you're pretty much the closest player they can get. It's really stupid, honestly. And the worst part is that at the last 10 seconds of the minigame, a second boo will appear, and that'll make it double trouble, and that'll just like make the minigame like very aggravating to like to try to avoid being booed. I would say that'd be a B tier. B for boo. Dust Buddies. This one's very tough. You have to avoid all of the obstacles on the ground, on the floor, and do not get sucked up by the vacuum cleaner. Like, obstacles like dust bunnies, buttons, ribbons, strips of film, and even balls, toy balls. Do not trip on them at all. You can jump across them, but just do not land on them because you'll trip on them. You're not guaranteed to get sucked in the vacuum cleaner, but the vacuum cleaner will sometimes get closer to you. It's very scary. And the balls, when the ball bumps into the vacuum cleaner, the ball will get sent in a random direction and probably screw you out of your win. It's really annoying. So I would say that would be an A tier because of the difficulty and the excitement. Next is Shortcut Circuit. It's a bonus coin game. You have to drag your little like conveyor belt or whatever those things are, your paths, to try and get your character to get to coins. Now, of course, you can use those paths to screw up your opponents and send them into an alternate direction, but you're kind of slowing yourself down in the process because you also have to take that direction. Only one player at a time can cross that certain direction, because then the platform will disappear. There'll be gold coins, which is obviously 1 coin, and sometimes even groups of 2. And of course, there's the red coin, which is 5. And you pretty much have to get as many as you can before you reach the end of the goal. It's pretty hard to do sometimes. It really is. I would say this would be a C tier. Cyber Scamper is a pretty tough game because you have to go on the invisible path, which is, well, not really invisible, it just darkens. You have to go on these tiles that will glow and disappear repeatedly, and you have to make your way to the goal without falling off, because there will be gaps in the road, and sometimes you need to jump across them. It's pretty scary. In the last one standing wins, or if you can get to the goal, that would be great too. I'd say with a difficult game like that, that'd be an S tier, because that shows off your skills like a big. That shows off your skills like a lot. Next is Soap Surfers. Soap Surfers is pretty boring, honestly, but some people enjoy it. I can't blame them. You have to ride your bar of soap in this bowl, which is actually a sink, and you have to bump your opponents out of the sink. You can pretty much just claim the middle and just not get bumped at all, because you have no momentum at all. But opponents trying to go outside-ish of the sink is pretty risky, because you're trying to build momentum, but you run the risk of your opponents bumping you off as you're trying to do an attack. I'd say that'd be a C tier. Sweet Sleuth is pretty tricky. You have to use your stylus to drag the candy up to the top screen and give it to the Shy Guy. You have to give the Shy Guy whatever he is thinking of. Otherwise, he's gonna shake his head, and you have to run back and try to give him the candy that you need. And there'll be more candies added to the plate that's on the bottom screen, so it makes it tougher. You gotta really get really get the edge of the candy that you need in order to give it to him. I'd say that's an A tier. Tidal Fools. It's another coin minigame. The tide will come in, and you have to avoid the tide, otherwise you're going to get stunned for a long time and just probably not get any coins at all. So when the tide goes out, coins will appear, lots of gold, lots of red. Okay, well, maybe just 1 red at a time. The red is 5, as usual. And yeah, you can get rich real quick against computer players. Computer players are pretty cautious on this one. I would say this would be a D tier. Raft Riots is kind of boring. You have to race around on this water track, going off ramps, avoiding toy balls in the middle of the road or water, and get to the goal first in a 1-lap race. 1 lap. The controls are kind of hard, but you are on water after all, and you're driving like a boat, like a little toy boat. Honestly, that would be a B tier. Gear Up, All Geared Up. It's kind of a simple side scroller obstacle course, really, pretty much. You just have to climb all the way up to the top by going up on certain platforms and just get to the goal. And if you fall off, you can just keep going up. There's no death, but you also have to watch out for your opponents, because you can just jump on them too. It's kind of annoying. I would say that'd be a C tier. Now that we're done with the 4-player games, we can get on to the 1v3s. Starting with Power Washer. The solo player has to use the jets of water on the plate to wash their opponents off of it. And when there's 10 seconds left, a second jet will be activated, and that would give the team real trouble. The team can jump over the water, but the one could try to use that to their advantage by turning the water right where they're going to be landing. Pretty mean. So I would say probably to not jump at all, and try not to stay too close to the inside, because that water is pretty lethal, I guess. I think that would be an A tier because of the difficulty. fast food frenzy is pretty brutal for the team. All the solo has to do is just put like all of the lethal foods, like the shakes, the burger, the pancakes, and even the hot dog. Oh, and even the ice cream too, onto the conveyor belt. And the 3 has to avoid them all for the whole 30 seconds. If they get knocked off of the conveyor belt, they're eliminated. The food has some like pretty funny effects. Like the shake, it doesn't have a side effect on it. It's just a big wall. The burger bounces you off somehow. Pancakes, you step on it, your feet get sticky, and your speed is slowed for a bit. But the conveyor belt will eventually speed up when there's 10 seconds left. It's pretty scary. The hot dog, jumping on it, the hot dog will make you slip on the ketchup, but I think you can get around it though. The ice cream dish though, never jump on the ice cream dish. You will be frozen. You will literally freeze up in ice when you touch it, and that's pretty much guaranteed death unless you got on the ice cream early, like the moment it was sent out, and the conveyor belt's not sped up yet. Do not jump on the ice cream at all. The fries, they're just like a semi-solid platform. You can jump on them, no hazard at all. But yeah, it is very difficult for the 3. Just keep spamming all the lethal foods on the conveyor belt, and you'll pretty much win. I would say that'd be a B tier. Peekaboo is kind of fun for me. The solo player gets a big camera and it moves pretty fast, while the 3 get small cameras and they move pretty slow, but they can divide their work up. The objective is to get all of the boos that are wanted onto the top screen. If you touch the wrong boo, they're gonna scare you and have you stunned for like a second. And yeah, there's always gonna be an odd amount of boos, so it's never gonna be a tie unless you actually can't find that last boo. That's pretty embarrassing. I think it's like pretty even out for the 3 though. So I would say this would be an S tier game because it's not biased at all. Like either the solo or the team can win. That's just my experience though. I've only played single player my whole life. Next is Wampathon. Wait, I thought I was done with the 4-player stuff. Oh well. Wampathon is pretty easy to win on, even during the thing, the score scuffler, the score shuffle. Dang, I forgot what that was called. It's the Mario Party DS Decathlon, pretty much. So all you have to do is just avoid the womps and not get crushed. There are going to be 4 of them, though. Multiple will shake, but only the first one that shakes will fall. That's your tell right there. That's a pretty easy tell. And the computer players are pretty stupid on this game, no matter what difficulty they are, because they will get crushed. And you'll see a silhouette of them buried in the dirt, but the problem is that their silhouette is also like a wall. You cannot walk through it. And so that'll act like as a wall and just bother you a lot. That'll probably cut you off of your escape. I would say that'd be an A tier. Next is Track Star. The solo player gets onto a train and has to run over the team of 3 in 3 rounds. So, but here's the problem though. The solo player has to pick the same path as the team does. So like you always have to choose left or right. You only have 3 rounds of this. So if the solo player were to choose left, for example, and the team were to choose right, then the single player just pretty much lost that round already. And it keeps going until all 3 rounds are done. And if that's not bad enough, you also have to work on catching up to the team as well. So like the single player will, if the single player chooses the same track as one teammate, then the teammate the runner has to alternately mash 2 buttons to try to run, while the single player just mashes the A button. It's pretty easy for the single player to catch up though. And and the funny thing is, the team that watches the single player try to catch up to your teammate, it's like they just watch as they're on a sidecar. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I would say this minigame is really hard for the single player because, like, what if they always just choose wrong? It's kind of ridiculous. I would say that'd be a D tier. Shuffleboard Showdown was very addictive for me because I love casino chips. I love lots of casino related stuff. Probably because I was born in Vegas. It's like I just have this like feeling because like look at these chips. They're so colorful, and I can just flick them around on this green table. So the objective is to the single player has to slide their 3 chips at the team of 3 and hope that knocks him down or knocks him away, pretty much. And you only have 3 shots at a time. If one chip makes it to the top screen, you will definitely reload. You have 30 seconds to try to catch the team, and the 10 seconds left, chips will fall down from the air for some reason. You can touch them, but do not let them land on you because you'll be stunned. You just need to not let the chips get knocked into you. I think a trick here is to just slide the chips against each other to try to fake out your opponents. But a jump is pretty easy to make sure you don't dodge them. I gotta say, if the jump mechanic was removed, this would make it easier on the solo player because dodging the bouncing chips is kind of easy with just the one jump. I'd say this would be a C tier. Flash and Dash is very scary. The team of 3 has to navigate through this maze and try to find the single player, and it's not easy for the solo player at all because of one mechanic. The dotted circles on the bottom screen. The dots on the bottom screen there are 5 of them, and they will slowly the number of dots will slowly will get more red if the team is getting close to you, and vice versa. If the team is getting close to the team that's getting close to the solo player will have more red dots on the bottom screen. That's their signal that they're getting closer to them. Now, of course, there's no speed difference in here, but you could end up like Pac-Man and get cornered by the team through some big teamwork right there. It's very scary for the single player. Sometimes the single player can get away, though, if your team is not that smart. I'd say this would be an A tier. Next is Plush Crush. Plush Crush is very easy for the solo player. Instant D tier. I'm just kidding. So what the team has to do is to pick up these plush toys and drag them across the table or the floor and crush the single player underneath one of them. Now, the single player can get crushed, but here's the thing, though. The plush toys cannot overlap another toy. So you have to be patient of what you drag around. And it's kind of hard to... It's very hard to corner the single player, though, unless they actually corner themselves, though. Kind of easy to avoid them, though. So I would say this would be a D tier game. Rubber Ducky Rodeo has to be like one of the hardest minigames ever as the team. The single player chooses left and right to try to throw his opponents off of the little rubber duckies behind them, and while the team has to maintain their balance, but the single player can just quickly shift it and use their own balance against them by throwing them off of the rubber ducky. It's pretty annoying. And there's no bonus effect either. I would say this would be a A tier because of the difficulty. Rotisserie Rampage is another 1v3 that I do not like, simply because of how easy it can be sometimes. Just stay on the meat as long as you can. You have like 30 seconds to do that. And if you get thrown off, you get your butt toasted by the grill below it. Now, the speed, though, is very slow. You cannot throw your opponent off at all unless they suck. Like you try to slide your stylus to rotate the meat in whatever direction you want, but there's simply no throwing them off by changing direction, and you can't even like make it fast enough to throw them off either. It's pretty bad. I would say it's a D tier. Next is Nothing to Lose. The sides are divided into two, of course. First one to make it to the goal wins. The solo player sleds on a wooden spoon, while the team of three sled on a shoe. And you have to use the bumpers, the left and right buttons, to shift your body over into a direction, so the sled, the spoon or the shoe will turn with you. The shoe, on the other hand, you have to work together as a team. Now, of course, the computer players can work with you, but no matter what difficulty you're at, they will always skid against the snow early, just to try and keep up with you. But that'll just probably slow you down and make the solo player win. I mean, unless they're a computer player as well. I would say this is a B tier. Next up is Penny Pinchers. This is a pretty fun one. It's a coin game. The solo player gets first dibs at the falling coins from the treasure chest above them, and they can just grab all the coins they want. It's a pretty easy way to get rich, because you can get like 20 coins at them at least if you're pretty good at dodging the marbles. The marbles are those green orbs that also fall from the treasure chest, and they will stun you if you get hit by one. And what the team of three does is that they pick up the leftover coins that the solo player misses by using those pinching grabbers, or whatever they're called. By using the stylus on the bottom screen, and they will pick up the falling coins by touching on the coin, and they will instantly grab them with their pinchers. It doesn't matter who grabs them, because the whole team will get whatever they get together. I would say this is a B tier game. Next is Gusty Blizzard, which is very, very broken for the single player. All the single player has to do is just blow ridiculously hard into the microphone and cause a major tundra effect for the team of three. The team of three has to use the stylus to rub their character and try to stay warm for as long as they can. They have 10 seconds, I think, in order to not get frozen by the single player. And the temperature right above them is going to get down and down the more they get cold. And if they turn into a snowman, you are done. You got frostbite. It's very easy for the solo player because they can just not stop blowing at all. That's a D tier game. Okay, so I think that's all the 1v3s. Next up is the 2v2s, starting with Soil Toil. Soil Toil, you're in a Formula 1 car, and you have to use the stylus to turn counterclockwise and make your tire move, but you're controlling one side, though. Your teammate controls the other side. So you can either go forward or just in a circle if you're not letting your teammate do any work. There will be mud spots all over the place, and that'll probably slow you down. There's also crops growing in the obstacle course as well, and they're just walls. I would say this is a C tier game. Next is Double Vision. Double Vision is very addictive because I simply like to draw. You have 30 seconds to draw all of your outlines steady and as neat as you can. Do not double do. And as I say that, do not try and trace them again, because that'll just deduct points. So you have to be steady with your stylus and carefully trace over your outline. So in case you're player 1, which, let's face it, you're always player 1, you have to trace on the blue and let your opponent do the other color, and try to configure out the Bowser minion that you're drawing. It's either a Boo, a Goomba, or a Wiggler. And then at the end, each teammate gets awarded points depending on how neat they have made their drawing. Do not leave any breaks. Do not try to draw again, because that'll be bad. I would say this is a B tier game. Next is Memory Mash. Memory Mash is pretty annoying. You run around and ground pound a card to turn it over, and you have to match up that card with another one on the table. You and your teammate have to do that, though. And there's a chance that a teammate will ground pound you and make you lose time. Opponents can ground pound each other too. It's impossible for the single player to make a match themselves. I mean, unless if the cards are pretty close to each other, because the cards will turn back over if the cards will turn back over shortly. I would say this is a C tier game. Next is Cube Crushers. The teams of two have to go through the freezer and punch ice blocks and make their way to the buttons on the side of the door to take them into the next level. The ice blocks with the question marks on them are either spike balls or invincible stars. Invincible stars will drastically increase your punching power and make you faster. You can punch through the white ice blocks too, which are pretty hard to break through. But with the superstar, you can just break them in no time. You have to get through 3 levels in order to win the minigame before your opponent, of course. The spike balls from the question blocks, though, they will freeze you, and then you have to mash your buttons and control stick or D-pad and try to get out of there yourself. Or your teammate can actually get over to you and bust you out in no time at all. But yeah, both teammates have to push both of the buttons on the side of the door in order to make it to the exit. I would say this is an S tier. Cube Crushers is very fun and challenging. Next up is Mole It. I think that's what it's called. Mole It, you have to dig your way with these spoons out into the tunnel without getting hit by the Monty Mole. So, it's kind of confusing at first because the top player has to hit the A button, and so does their teammate. You will not advance forward until both teammates hit and use their spoons. Now the catch is the person who used their spoon first, so like the top player did, you will go up. But if the teammate on the bottom hits the ground with the spoon first, they will go on the bottom. But if you actually do it at the same time, you will go on an even playing field. You also have to avoid the rocks, so you have to try to maneuver your way around the course before the Monty Mole gets you, or if your opponents beat you to the end, of course. I'd say this is a B tier. Next is Sprinkler Scalers. This one is very easy to win on, if you're good, that is. So press X to go up, press A or Y to turn around the pipe, so you can go up when you're not going up against those screws. The catch is that you have to do the same input as your teammate. Otherwise, if you and your teammate hit different buttons, you drop down, and that'll make you lose precious time. I would say this is a C tier because of how quick and simple it is. Next is Cucumber Jacks. Cucumber Jacks is a very simple game, but it is frantic. You just have to slide against the bottom screen as fast as you can in order to slice as many cucumbers off of the cucumber you're slicing. Partial slices will remove a half slice of a cucumber, and that's not fast enough. You have to do a full swipe across the screen in order to get as many cucumbers off as you can. It is very fun, though. I would say this is an A tier. Next is Hanger Management. You and your teammate glide across the obstacle course on a coat hanger as it travels across a wire. You have to avoid all sorts of obstacles like fence poles, other kind of hanger poles, trowels, etc., and get to the goal without trying to bump into anything. If you and your teammates center out the coat hanger, you will travel at high speed, but that could also make it difficult to turn if you're not careful. You have to shift your weight in order to make the coat hanger not hit any obstacle. And there's also a 4-player version of this in the score shuffle game in the minigame mode, but that's the only place you can play on 4-player. Let's see, what could I put this on? I would say this is an A tier game. Next is Book It. It's a very simple 2v2. It's like Snow World in Mario Party 6, which came before this game. Just push A, B, Y, X like twice in order to get your teammate up a book level by using the ruler as like some sort of like handle device or whatever. You just have to keep doing that until you reach the goal. It's that simple. But if you make a mistake, you lose time. That'd be a D tier game because of how simple it is. Airbrushers is a coin game that you have to mash the A button in order to flap your wing and try to get as many coins as you can that are in the air. You and your teammate must work together in order to fly high, or just try to drop down in order to get the coins below. There will be groups of 2 coins or 1 coin, and the red coins are 5. It's kind of fun. I would say this would be a B tier. Next is Toppling Terror, another boring minigame because of how easy it is to win. All you have to do is just blow into your microphone really hard, which is very easy for humans, and get the womp to fall down onto your opponents. Yeah, and like the game description says, like you have to scare the womp in order to fall on your opponents. Like, how do you scare it? You're just blowing it. And yeah, all you have to do is just blow like really hard. It's that easy to win. Just D tier automatically. Next is Crazy Crosshairs, and Crazy Crosshairs is very difficult because you and your teammates get one different axis. Like you would either get the X-axis, which is up and down, and your teammate gets the Y-axis, which is left and right. One person pushes the button to lock onto that level, and the other person pushes the button at the right time to shoot the scuttlebugs on the spider web. It's all about timing, like literally. It's very difficult to master. The gold scuttlebugs are worth 3 points, while the regular ones are worth 1 point, and you have to get more points as you can before the end of the time. It's very hard to master. I would say this is a C tier at most. Shorty Scorers is very hard to win. Shorty Scorers, you have to get the soccer ball and dribble it for some reason. Like, it's like I think you're just playing handball. So the way this game works is you have to get the ball and then throw it into the goal that's behind like a moving Goomba cutout, and you could just punch your opponents. You can just punch your opponent for the ball and take it. You also pass it and try to shoot yourself. But it's very hard to make a goal constantly because the computer players will always outspeed you when you're holding the ball. It's very annoying. So I would say this is a C tier. Probably like mid between C tier and D tier. Alright, we're done with the 2v2s. Now on to the battle minigames. Cheap Chump is ridiculously easy. At times, don't get me wrong, there can be times where you get caught unintentionally. You have 3 different kinds of sizes of Cheeps, and you have to avoid the whirlpools that they will make below you while you're swimming in the water. Sometimes you can just push your opponents in, or the opponents themselves will just swim into them. Because when I played Mario Party DS on Expert, like some of the computer players would just like for some reason just swim into the cheap whirlpool. It's very stupid. I would say an easy minigame like this would just be a C tier. Star Catchers is next. Star Catchers is one of my favorite minigames because, you know, we have to catch stars. And so when a star appears on the bottom screen, you be the first to claim it by touching it on the bottom screen. And if it matches your player color, that star is yours. So, like, if you're player 1, like always, then that star will light up as blue, meaning you claim it. And more stars will appear frantically as the game is going to end, and obviously whoever gets the most stars wins. I would say this is an A tier game. Not because I like it, it's because of how difficult and frantic it can be. Short Fuse is next. Short Fuse has got to be one of the most ridiculous but addictive minigames ever. Just blow on the fuse of the Bowser bomb and have the bomb not go off on you. If it goes off on you, you're eliminated. And the fuse gets shorter every passing round. If you don't blow at all, the fuse will, like, suddenly go all the way down and just blow you up like it's got a mind of its own. You literally have to blow on it at least one time, no matter how soft. It's also really hard to try to mess up your opponents by making the bomb blow up on themselves. I barely survived by having the counter go all the way down as the bomb blows up on them. I would say this is a B tier game. Next is Globe Gunners. Globe Gunners is a very boring minigame, a battle game, because you literally just have to shoot your opponents over and over again in order to win. And most of the time, a computer player will literally just end up with 0 points as they run across the globe trying to find opponents. And the shot player will of course get invincibility frames. And sometimes the shots won't even connect, no matter how hard you try. It's pretty difficult, so I would say this is a D tier game because of how low the game is. Next is Chips and Dips. It's a luck-based battle minigame, which all battle games need, apparently, just a luck-based game. So you get some cards, and you have to get a big number on the card. And whatever number you get is how many chips you get. And you have to be the player with the most chips at the end of 3 rounds in order to win. The first round will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second round will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. There's a big 10 on the board. And the third round will have 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and a Bowser card. Picking the Bowser card will make a Bowser sweeper come in and swipe half of the chips from your stack. That's pretty much a guaranteed loss right there. I mean, I hardly see anyone win that minigame after picking the Bowser card. Like, that would be like a miracle in order to win. I would say this minigame would be a C tier because it's luck based. Now, on to the boss fights. Seed thing? The Seed Flare game? What was that minigame called again? I forgot. Oh, Feed and Seed. That's right. Feed and Seed. Feed and Seed is every child's worst nightmare because the piranha plant will eat you on the 3rd phase of the fight. It is annoying. And even got me, like, so much too. Like, I was literally throwing a fit because I could not beat that boss because the piranha plant's vacuum power is insane. So the gimmick is to not get sucked up in the piranha plant's mouth, and as it tries to blow seed bombs at you, you have to grab one of them by pressing the B button with good timing while mashing the A button to stay afloat with your balloon. And then when it starts trying to vacuum you up again like Kirby, you have to throw the seed bomb in its mouth and it'll take damage. And the vacuum power gets stronger every phase. You just have to hit it 3 times though in order to win. But getting through the 3rd phase is no picnic for children because that vacuum power is very strong. It's a child's worst nightmare, like I said. So I say this game is a D tier for all you kids out there. Next is well, crap, what was this minigame called again? Hammer Chime. That's it, Hammer Chime. Hammer Chime is pretty easy. All you have to do is match the beat that the Hammer Bro gives off, and just have his attack sent right back at right back at him. Damn it, I'm flubbing up my words. So like for example, if the Hammer Bro was to do yellow, green, blue, You just do that in that order, and then you'll send the attack right back at him by using your own music against him. But if you press the wrong one, you have to start over. It's kind of annoying. And if that music note hits you, you lose a life. And every phase that the hammer bro gets you through, you have to remember one step more than the other. It's also kind of annoying. Like, sometimes the third phase kind of gets me off because I'm having a bad memory. I would say this is a B tier game. Next is Hexoskeleton. Hexoskeleton has to be one of the easiest boss fights in the world. Basically, you have 8 switches, and you have to ground pound on the one that has a fireball above it when Dry Bones screeches. And all you have to do is just walk around him, which is pretty easy, and then just ground pound on the switch. Dry Bones pretty much just walks around, and if the Dry Bones starts laughing, he will either do a ground pound and cause fruit to fall above, or throw bones at you, which is kind of hard to dodge. Punching, you can punch the fruits at Dry Bones and stun him, or make him ground pound a durian and have him stun himself, which is kind of silly. But let's be honest, we never get to that part because we always try to speedrun our way through this boss. Each phase, Dry Bones will make another switch appear, and you have to ground pound them in order of the fireballs that appear. In the third phase, you have to do it 3 times. You have to remember a 3-stage pattern, and sometimes a leaf will fall down and cover up one of the switches that you're looking for. It's kind of annoying, but you can still see the fireball growing behind it. Regardless, an easy minigame like this deserves to be D tier because of how easy it is. It's not challenging. Next is Book Bash. Book Bash is a very difficult boss fight because before you fight Kamek, you have to go through a bookcase obstacle course, avoiding the bookcases and avoiding the flying books too. You have to push the A button or hold it down in order to fire ink blots. One ink blot shot against a flying book is all it's needed to defeat it and have it out of your way. Controls for up and down are inverted as well, so it's really tricky. And you also have to avoid the bookshelves that pop in and out. It's very annoying. And then once you get to Kamek, the real fun begins there, because you have to use the remaining hearts that you brought in order to fight him, and he will throw magic spells at you and cause books to head towards you, and touching a single book is gonna do damage to you. All you have to do is just shoot ink at Kamek's face, and if he starts if enough ink covers his face, he will start throwing magic everywhere and have a horde of books after you. But then a big book will just drop on his head and do damage to him. It's kind of silly. And the annoying part is the third phase, because the third phase, an unavoidable attack will be thrown right at you, where 2 books come at you, one from side to side, and it will crush you if you don't stop Kamek by shooting ink at his face. It's unavoidable, at least in my opinion. And yeah, if you manage to ink up Kamek's face, he will stop the attack, and he'll start having a temper tantrum and have a book fall on his head, and that's pretty much it. I would say this is an A tier game in my opinion. Bowser's Block Party has to be a very tough boss fight. Like, it surpasses Kamek's boss fight. So Bowser puts on a Megamorph belt, which lets him turn into a gold block, and has other black blocks joining with him. The first one will be a dreidel, which he spins around and tries to get you, which will eventually start having fire spin around it. And if you get hit at all, you lose a heart. And then when the dreidel stops after hitting a wall for a 5th time, it will drop, and you have to punch the gold Bowser block. Hitting it 5 times, I think, will then cause Bowser to lose 1 heart. But then he will change his shape into a cube. The cube is pretty hard to speedrun without taking damage, because you have to punch the Bowser cube the gold Bowser block, but then a fireball will be spit out you because the ones with the Bowser face on them, not the gold one, will have fireballs shot out of it. And and you also have to avoid getting crushed too, because that'll hurt you and make you lose precious time. And then after defeating Bowser's second phase, he will then turn into a snake worm or whatever and go around the outside of the screen, turning into a fire torch as well. And if it's bad enough, the Bowser cubes will shoot fireballs at you. It is ridiculously hard to dodge, unless if you press the X button and switch your camera perspective, that'll make it easy to dodge the fireballs then. Then the next thing, Bowser will head toward for the middle of the screen trying to recharge, and then that's your time to punch the Bowser cube. But you also have to watch out for fireballs that'll pop out as desperation. But if you can punch Bowser, if you can get all your Bowser punches there before Bowser starts trying to circle around the stage again, then you basically won the fight. That's pretty much it. I would say that's an A-tier game. Mario's Puzzle Party. Should I really need to explain this? You just really have to stack 2 blocks of the same color next to each other and try to score a combo as you do so. And if you get an this is a single player only mode, at least as far as I know. And if you clear all of the blocks, then you get like a big 1,000 point bonus. I think it's 1,000 points. And you have to try to get through all 50 levels without failing at any point. If you fail, then you pretty much have your score recorded there. You can continue from the level you left off of, but your score resets back to 0. I would say this is an A-tier game. Next is Bob-omb Breakers. Bob-omb Breakers I personally don't like that much. You just have to match up 3 shapes of the same, and then you get points. You can also try to get combos as well. Completely boxing in Bob-ombs will have all the spaces next to the Bob-omb blow up, and that'll make you rake up points. I honestly don't know how to set up a good combo with this. I would say this is a B tier. Next is Peace Out from Mario Party 5. Peace Out, you have to pick up and drag blocks in order to your grid and fill up the board completely. You get more points if you put the same color on, but that'll just cost you time. And if you run out of time, you lose. Your level will go up the more you do well, but then it gets harder because sometimes there will be angry blocks. Picking up an angry block will change the shape of it, and not the size or how many blocks there are. It'll just literally just change the shape, but you can still put it on the board without getting a penalty. Like it's not bad at all. And yeah, like the higher the level you are, the conveyor belt also gets faster, and it's also hard to just like fill up the timer again. It's kind of annoying. I would say this is an A tier as well. Next is Stick and Spin. Stick and Spin is like one of my worst enemies ever, because you literally just have to match like 5 balls of the same color and try to make that counter in the middle go down. If 10 balls are sticking outside of the ring, you lose. It took me so long to get to level 99 on Mario Party Superstars, but I eventually did it. It was like so annoying to get through levels 91 through 96 or 95. It was like so annoying. I would say this would be a C tier. Next is Block Party from Mario Party 6. I hate Block Party. It is a boring puzzle and it's super hard to do. I personally don't like it. So what you have to do is you have to match blocks of the same color and have them match up with the star block that matches that color. You match them all up, you go on to the next level, but it's very hard to do. And you also have to avoid the timer as well. If any block reaches the top of the screen, you lose. You press the B button to make another row pop up instantly, because they will slowly ascend rows from the bottom. There'll also be ones with clocks on them. That means they'll extend your time. Now the catch is though, you You have to use your cursor, the plus control pad, in order to move from block to block one at a time. And then you press the A button. But you can't move any blocks from side to side. What basically happens if you press on a block, you basically send it to the top. That's it. You just have to match all 5 of the stars by using them. It's pretty annoying. You cannot press the A button on the stars or the timepieces though. I would say this is a C tier at least. It's a puzzle game, challenging but stupid, honestly. And finally, we have a Mario Party DS original, Triangle Twisters. Triangle Twisters, it works in 2 ways. One, you try to match up as many colored triangles as you can of the same color and try to rake up a high score. Or you can do the fun way and try to complete the shape of the triangle that tells you to on the top screen by using the bottom screen. And if you make a mistake, you lose time. You have to try and complete all 50 levels. And the faster you complete the puzzle, the more points you get. It's kind of fun. I would say this is an S tier game. And with that, this is my completed tier list. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time for another tier list video if I ever make one. See ya. Bye-bye.